Hello, my name is Angelik Laboy Torres. I'm your favorite developer advocate here at Inworld AI, and we're moving on up because we're going to start talking about goals and actions and how you can make your characters do them. Okay, so different to other videos, this is going to be divided in two parts. The first part will be about the uses and how to construct them, and the other part will be about execution. Also, I will start brushing up on my coding skills since we're going to be doing a little bit of scripting. But with that, what are goals? Goals are a section in your character that enable you to set a specific trigger to make your character behave in a specific way during a particular interaction or scenario. So, for example, I could say a specific word that would cause for Galileo to start lecturing me about physics. I could also tell him to throw the book to the back of the room. I could tell him to move to the left, move to the right, and all these sorts of actions is what is so fun about goals. Now, what is a YAML? YAML is a data serialized language that helps organize information in a way that is easy for both people and computers to understand. The reason why we use YAML is because anybody can really just understand them, as well as computers can process heavy information with them, which is great. Now, there's 4 things that we need to keep in mind in terms of the YAML syntax. The first one is that indentation matters. So if on the same property level, then leave it in that level. If it's a subproperty, then go under it just by 1. Now, the other thing will be about hyphens. If we're listing something, use hyphens. If we're doing a value, use a double quotation. So that means that if we have a property like intent equals the name of that value, put it into quotations. It can't be single quotation. Always make sure that they're paired the same way. You will get an underline red if there's ever an error, which is great. Now, the last one would be about the equals. So how I said intent equals, instead of using the equal math, we'll use the column in order to indicate the value of that intent. So with all that, how do we actually get started and where do we find goals? Well, started by going into Inworld Studio. From there, log in. I'm gonna go into a character that does not have any goals, so you can actually see the sample that we provide with you, and I'll work with you with that. Now I'm going on Game Master, Advanced, and at the top it says goals. I'm gonna click there, or you can just scroll down. And as we can see, this is where you establish your goals, and this is where you write your YAML. Now, there's a couple properties that we need to learn, so I'll walk you through it. The first one is goals. Goals work by getting activated by an activation event that then initiates a specific action. It also sends you a notification whenever a goal has happened. The next one that we see here is name. Name is about giving a name to your goals. You want to be able to call it back later, not just say goal 1, goal 2, goal 3. In this case, it's called give quest. The next one that we have are activations. The activation property is the event that triggers the goal. It has subproperties of intent and trigger. You don't need to have both of them, but you at least need to have one of them. The intent is there to scan the player's conversation to identify if the intent aligns with the predefined training phrases. Okay, so the thing that I love about training phrases is that this is a way for you to scan, how it says, scan through your player's conversation and actually detect the different ways in which a player can say something. So for example, if I want my goal to scan for the hellos, I need to account for all the different ways in which somebody can say hello. I could say hello, I could say what's up, what's good, hi, or hola, ¿cómo estás? You know, there's many different variations because not everybody says hello the same way. So training phrases are there to capture all that. Next up, we have trigger. Trigger is a property in which parameter sends a signal to the server saying, hey, initiate this goal. So the last required property that we have is action, and this one has many sub-properties to it. The first one being the spoken action, which has 2 of them, is instructions and say verbatim. So instruction is telling your character what do you want them to say, but in whatever format. You're giving them a command, and that's the best way to get the most optimal performance. So tell your player to say hello, or tell your player to move to the right. You're giving them a command. While say verbatim is writing out exactly what they need to say, so you just pick and choose whichever one you prefer. The next one that we have is send trigger, which will send a notification whenever an action has been executed. So think about this like whenever the goal is done or whenever the goal gets called, you want to send to the backend information that says a trigger has been activated or done. That lets us know, and we can take that information and be, hey, do this specific thing now that this goal has been completed, or now that this goal is being completed. So there's a lot of room to play here. Then we also have random, which is in the last property I'll talk for today. And random is about if you want to change the many different variations in which action shows up. So it could be an emotion change, or it could say like spoken action, like a instruction in the next one. So whenever it gets called back again, something random or different happens, not just the same established action from the goal. The other great one, which is not here, but we'll test it out later, is repeatable. So this is a binary, and that just means, do you want your goal to happen once or just many times? It's always set to false. That means that your goal is only going to be executed once it's called. But if repeatable is labeled as a property in truth, then it can happen as many times as you want. Now, okay, I've spoken a lot, I explained a lot. Now I actually want to walk through what is happening here exactly. And I'm going to go and start out. So I have goals. I actually written it out so that way it's easier for you guys to see it later. But the first one that we started out is goals. And this is exactly how it's seen. It's a purple-green combination right now. Then, so we have goals, which is the structure that we're going to be writing all these activations and actions in. And the first property that we see is name, which is give quest, and that is the name of the goal. Next up, we have activation, which is actually calling both of them. It's calling an intent and a trigger. Now, we'll stop there and go to the intent area. As you can see down here, in a similar fashion that goal has its own structure, intent also has it. So intent has name and training phrases, and the name here needs to be the same one as this one in order to identify that that is the intent that is being called. Then the training phrases are capturing many different ways, in which, in this case, is, do you have any quests for me? What quest should I take on next? What quest can I take on here? And again, there's many different ways in which something is being said, okay? Now, if we go back, we have trigger. And this can actually be activated from within the chat in Inworld Studio, right? Like a custom trigger, or sent from a backend in Unity. We'll test out how it looks sending a trigger, okay? And now we're going to actions. From actions, we have instructions, which are tell player to visit Queen Bee to get a javelin. There we go. A javelin made with a honeybee stinger. Okay? It's just telling a command. Now we have an emotion change. Great thing about emotions is that if I wanted to establish one, it actually gives you like all the valid answers if you haven't like selected one. In this case, I want to use sadness to tell this goal or this instruction. And the last one being the send trigger. So remember, the goal's already sent a notification, but you can turn that off during the conversation. So send trigger can be really useful whenever you're trying to, again, do sort of like a backend thing, or if whenever you step on this platform where this goal is completed, then send a trigger, okay? Now I'm gonna save it. Chat conversation away. Okay, I'm gonna restart my conversation. And I say, actually, do you have a quest for me? It's not exactly what is written there, but because of the training phrases, it was able to capture it. So there we go. We said that the goal has been activated of give quest, and I define the given quest, that is the send trigger, and then the quest has been given and it's complete. Ta-da! Okay, now I want to send a custom trigger. So I will copy this name here, which is give quest, go back to the chat, and I'll restart because I don't have repeatable, so the goal can only happen once. Okay, so go right here, where is the ellipsis, goal trigger, write the name, and send. Ta-da! Okay, so that's great. Now what do we want to add? I want to add repeatable so you guys actually know what that looks like. I like to put it right here. Repeatable, set to true. There we go. Save it. And now join the chat. And now that there's a repeatable here, do you have a quest for me? Ta-da! There we go. Okay, so that is the end of this first part. Join us for the next one in order to see how to execute the goal and how it looks in many different ways. I would strongly recommend checking out the docs.inworld.ai. We have a pretty cool section and lengthy section with all the definitions of everything that I've spoken about. So you can check out all the different properties that you can tackle in goals. And I'll definitely do that because it's kind of hard to remember that all at once. I usually start coding with that. Well, I write the YAML with that on the side. Now, always remember that we're here, so like and subscribe. If you have any comments about what we can do better or what topics you want us to cover, just comment out. That's the best way for us to know. But we also have a Discord community, which I invite you to join if you want to meet other developers and want to see how everybody else is developing in Inworld. And, I'll see you the next time.